Hey folks, Ron Howard from xTreme Sequences bringing you a tutorial on the latest and greatest from xLights 2021.20. Scott Hanson is the savior of the day. Let me tell you something, this hobby takes a lot of time just to put pixels in props and test props and controllers and realize you never order enough pigtails. And so, especially this year where so many people are coming on board the xLights gravy train for their light shows, we need all the help and love we can get to make things a little bit easier. And Scott is on the cutting edge of doing just that for us. So again, big shout out to him. I'm going to share with you something that came out that I think was really, really cool. And I'll let you read it here. Enhancement, Scott Hanson added the ability to import views from RGB effects files and sequence files. Man, that's a twofer. This is great. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Here we go. You spend all this time deciding what you're going to do with your light show, and you know how to import and bring these down so that they create a submodel group with elements you need for both submodels or both models and groups. And you kind of got a good understanding of that. And then it's time to map over a sequence. So what do? We click New. We want to choose a musical sequence. We'll go to our desktop. We'll find that song. The Christmas song, sure, we'll open that. We'll go with our 40 frames, and we don't have any choices here that you should, and you will in a moment. And we click Done. And so what we have here is a sequence and a master view with models that I am sure are not in the correct order. Their hierarchy here is a hot mess. Edit display elements. Do not go in here and sort by name, groups at the top. None of that. No. Don't use any of those. No. If you have high density props from Gilbert Engineering or anyone, then you don't want to do that. These need to be in specific orders. You could use my PDF document from the website to put these in order and manually drag these things wherever you want. Sure, use this. Just start putting them in order. And then you can take that master view, clone it, rename it, and say, you are now the master view. Great. You've seen all these tutorials. Hopefully, if you haven't, you can go back and watch those. But there's a better way now. And it's as simple as clicking on the import from layout file. That's looking for the RGBFX file for my sequences. And so I will simply go to that download folder that may have the file in it. In my case, I have it in my Christmas 2021. That is my RGBFX file that I'm using this year. So it has all the correct hierarchy of models, submodel groups, and so on. And I will click Open. And it's going to ask me, do you want the main sequence view? Well, that's the only one I use. Yes, please. And just like that, all the pixels, all pixels group, pixels no yard, everything that I have for that sequence, because that's what I use for all my sequences in 2021, is here and it's done. I don't need all these stragglers over here. They're already in the groups. And this is my Rosa Grande torch group. If you see something over here, it's probably because I'm not using it in the sequence. I'm not using my regular Rosa Grande in the sequence, so it's not going to come over here. Okay? So if it's over here, chances are it's not being used in the sequence. And then from here, what I can do is I can tell it to make master. Fantastic. Let's create another view. Let's say that this is an older sequence. Okay? And you have the zip file with the sequence, you will need to unzip the zip file to get to the RGBFX for this particular process. Let's say that you want to use that sequence to put these in a particular order. So what we can do is we can import from a sequence file. And we'll go back to our desktop and we'll find an older sequence. So maybe we'll use Carol the Bells, David Foster. You double click in here, and there it is. You can use that. If it's a sequence that was not saved with the XSQ, if I put this on properties, the XSQ, which stands for xTreme sequence. Oh, no, it's not. It's a xLight sequence. Okay, but sounds cool. if it's not in this descriptive language, you can choose this and tell this to look for old file types, and it will show you the XML files, okay? For now, we'll use this. We'll click open, and it has now created the hierarchy from how that sequence was born. All pixels, tree topper, megatree, matrix, flakes group, here are all the older XLS, and so on and so on. So it might behoove you to check if there's an HD add-on for that particular sequence that might have the starbursts and the Rosa Grandes, or at least Rosa wreaths and dazzlers and things of that nature. Keep in mind, a lot of these props were born in 2021. So some of the older sequences may not have them, and you're going to have to, get creative if there's not an HD add-on pack. But again, the cool thing about this, and what I can do here is I can rename this, and I can call this xTreme older sequence 2020, something like that, and click OK. And now if I make that master, that's exactly what it will be, and will be treated accordingly. So you could have as many views as you want in here. So if you have other sequence providers that have a hierarchy that's different than mine and different than yours, then by all means, create those in here and use them. Because when it's time to create a new sequence, and then we'll just do an animation, you get to choose which view you want. So if it's an older xTreme sequence, you may use this one, or if it's something that's newer, you can use this one. And we click done. And now you are ready to import anything from 2021. How cool is that? This is an evolutionary game changer in mapping sequences using xLights. There is nothing faster than using this automation in display elements to be able to import from an RGBFX file or from the sequence itself to put all of your models and submodels in a hierarchy. That's huge. And you'll still have some things over here that may have to pop over, that there could be a naming convention discrepancy. It's not going to chew your food for you completely, but it's pretty simple to pull this over, find our arches, and because I have triple arches. Other than that, there's really not much else to do unless the sequence was born at a time that King's Ransom didn't exist. And then either you look for an HD add-on if it exists, or you are going to bring these over manually and sequence them in. Cool. I hope this has been helpful. I've been waiting for something like this for a long time. Scott was a sweetheart and open-minded to include this. He really does want to help the community have a better experience with xLights, and so do I. So with that being said, if you have any questions, drop me a line. You know where I'm at. info@xtremesequences.com. We'll catch you soon. Love is love.